Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melody and today we are doing an extra special bullet journaling video because this particular spread I have been putting off for 6 whole months. Yes, you heard that right. I have been meaning to do this spread for 6 months. I should have done this spread at the beginning of the year, and honestly, it's been sketched out since January. So I'm just saying, this is a safe channel for all those procrastinators out there. I am with you, we are in this together, and let's finally get something done that is 6 months overdue, shall we? So this spread is my yearly book wrap-up kind of a spread. You can see it's got my Goodreads Goal, my books index, which is a comprehensive list of all the books I read each year, and I also have a little bookshelf that I fill out. You saw what it's like. So let's get to it, and while I'm working on this, I will be listening to the audiobook Lore by Alexandra Bracken, I believe, and let's get to it. I really enjoyed last year's yearly book spreads, so I wanted to have a similar feeling this year. Like, don't fix what's not broken, right? So I'm using the same color scheme, which these are the Tombow brush tip markers, and these are all from the Cottage pack, I think is what the color scheme was called for the pack that I got. I just think that these colors really complement each other. They're really warm and inviting. So I'm going to be using those markers throughout all my spreads. And yeah, so here on the left side, I've got books of 2022, and I'm drawing a coffee cup where I'm going to be putting the star ratings, and this is where I will dedicate a color to each rating. You will see in a second. So I'm going to start on the right side of the page, and this year my yearly TBR, my TBR for 2022, I'm doing a little bit differently from last year. Last year it was just a list, and this year I thought it'd be cute to draw a stack of books where I would have my TBR list. So that's what I'm doing here, and I have a little potted plant, I guess, on top of the stack, which I think is just really cute. And yeah, if you want to do this, I'm pretty sure I googled like book stack and as a reference, and I drew that. You could honestly stack up some of your own books and use that as a drawing reference just to get the angles right and the movement feel to it correct. But yeah, I didn't come up with it on my own, I did use a reference. A reference is an artist's greatest tool. Do not hesitate to use references when you need them, especially if you have a vision in your head and you want to get it right. Alright, I'm finally getting to the fun part, in my opinion, which is coloring everything in with my Tombow markers. So this is where having a limited set of colors is really actually helpful. I think I'm using 6 to 8 colors in total here, which I know that can feel limiting, and it can kind of be annoying at times where you feel like you need a certain color but it's not in the set you have. Just go for it. Make do with what you have. I don't care, like my pot at the top of the stack of books, I wish it was more terracotta colored instead of bright orange, but I make it work because if I stray from the color scheme, I lose all sense of cohesiveness throughout the spreads. So trust me and stick to the color scheme. I don't care how badly you want the tabletop to be a darker brown, use the brown that I have. You know what I'm saying? I promise it will all come together in the end, and it ends up looking perfect if you stick to a color scheme. Right now, you can see me laying out some markers, trying to decide the order of color I want to do for my 2022. Which is just a little tip, you know, like, I'm human, I lay out the colors, I try to visualize what they look like. I do use a scrap piece of paper off to the side to test colors. So yeah, just a little tip. I wanted to make the title 2022 super colorful and fun this year, and it's got a little drop shadow, kind of an effect with the light peachy color, and I do really love how that font turned out. Okay, I am going to tweak that page a little bit, but for the most part it is all done, and we are on to my Goodreads Goal page. So this is the, well, no, actually, I lied. We're on to the bookshelf page first. My bad. This is the page where I just doodle a bookshelf, and I fill in each spine with the corresponding color of the rating of the book that I read. Does that make sense? Basically, I'm just doodling out a bookshelf, and I'm making sure I have enough book spines on the shelf to reach my goal, which I do. And when I finish a book, I'll come onto this page and I will fill in a spine for that book in whatever color rating I chose to give the book, and I designated that color on the previous page on the coffee cup, if you remember. So, and then after I color it in, I will put the title of the book on the spine as well. This page is not necessary in any way, shape, or form, but I really enjoy the bookshelf page. I love seeing all the books I read in order on the shelf with their rating, so that at a quick glance I can see, you know, how I liked the books I read this year. How many 5 stars, how many 4 stars. You know, it's just fun and it's cute. I mean, you can't deny how cute it is, especially with this green vine running across the top. I love that touch. I think it just added a lot of movement and energy to this page where it was lacking before the green vine. So yeah, and also my bookshelf here next to me has a little bit of a vine around the top too. So I did take inspiration from my daily life as well. Now I'm just going over all my spines with my pen. These are, let me look. These are Staedtler pens. A lot of people use Micron pens too. Whatever you want, just make sure they don't bleed. That's my only tip for art pens. Make sure that they do not bleed, especially when using markers over top of them. Any kind of marker. So yeah, Staedtler just happens to be my personal favorite brand, but whichever works for you. And I do highly recommend sketching out the spines before you go in with pen, because you want to make sure you have enough space to fit all the books to reach your goal. You will see here I have broken up the bookshelf with a few different items, a few different books that are slanted as well. Some books are stacked horizontally instead of vertically, and that all just breaks up the space and adds interest. As for the items I used to split up the space, you will see me drawing in those right now. I have another potted plant. I don't actually grow plants, just FYI. I can't keep a plant alive, but I like how they look. But I also have a globe, and here I am currently drawing a horse bookend, which I do have some horse bookends, but also horses are my favorite animal. So I added that touch, and ooh yeah, I zoomed in here, good for me. In the potted plant, I am adding roses, which are my favorite flower. So yeah, you can do whatever you want in these little personal touches to break up the space, and yeah, make them personal to you, because then it's more fun. And go wild, put whatever the heck you want on your bookshelf. For me, it's flowers, and a globe to represent my love for traveling, a horse, a picture frame, and I will get to it later, but a trophy. Really quick note, you will see me coloring in the horse right now with a black marker, which you might be thinking to yourself, hey, that wasn't in your original color scheme. You're right, but black and white do not count when I'm talking about following a color scheme. Black and white never count because they are your value colors. I don't want to confuse anybody, but you can use black and white as much as you want. Obviously, I'm using white all the time because white is the background color of the page. And I'm using black all the time because of the lines, so it makes sense. So if you need something to be black, get out a black marker even if it's not in your color scheme. But I would say use it sparingly. Okay, now back to the drawing. You can see in the bottom right, I have a little trophy. I'm not like in sports or anything. This is my 72 goal trophy, which I think is really cute idea that I came up with. Once I hit my 72 book goal, I put the trophy at the end of the stack so that it breaks up, like I've completed my goal and any books after that are extras. Alright, so now we are on to the Goodreads Goal spread. This is the third spread, and this is where I will keep track of, you guessed it, my Goodreads goal for the year, which I've already mentioned is 72 books. If you want to follow me on Goodreads, I always link that down in the description. I love following people on Goodreads. I think it is so much fun. I love seeing what people are reading. I love seeing updates and all that kind of stuff, so feel free to follow me and I might follow you back. So this is the page where I will be filling in boxes each time I finish a book. However, I do take it one step further and I distinguish if I've read that book either audibly or physically. So obviously, if I read a book physically myself or if I listened to the audiobook, this page I will distinguish those books from each other. So yeah, and I also really enjoy that it's not just filling in a box, but I do these little triangles in each corner, and those are the parts that I actually color in. It just adds that extra bit of interest to the page. Here at the bottom is where I put the physical and audio color. You know, I indicate the color down here on the bottom, and I have these more vines that kind of wrap up and around and frame the boxes. I kind of wish I had done more intricate flower work here instead of the simple vines because I did have all that space, but you know, it is what it is. I decided with this top font for goal and books, I wanted to make it just like it was on the first page with 2022. Again, this is just bringing that sense of cohesiveness throughout each spread that I do. And yeah, I'm just doing the exact same thing, the same kind of colors, and that's about it. So now we're on to my last couple of spreads, which this is going to be the most simple couple of pages because this is my books index, which is just the giant list of all the books I read. And that's pretty much it. There's no bells and whistles on this page. It's really the most, I would say, purposeful page, and it is the most boring. And the most boring to create because I do make a lot of lines. And this isn't the only page with a lot of lines. You'll see the next page also has lines. As I said, my goal is 72 books, so I have to make sure I have at least 72 lines. So yeah, I did not differ this spread very much from last year's. Last year's worked, and it's not the most exciting page, so I'm gonna keep it how it is. As long as it works and it functions well, that's what matters the most. Here you'll see I'm changing up the washi tape. I use washi tape quite a bit in all these spreads, but I often don't include that in recording because, like you can see here, I mess around and I change things a lot. So I typically just show you at the end the washi tape that I end up picking out. Just to include a few more details about what the book's index includes, I have the number of book, the title, the format in which I read, the author, the star rating, and the dates I read the book. So this is an all-encompassing spread. It kind of takes the purpose of all the previous spreads and puts them into one list where I can find everything very quickly. So that is the first page of the book's index, and now I have to do the second page with just the lines, and I am doing a fancy little snap effect so that you don't have to watch me draw all those lines all over again. And I did want to include just a touch of me filling in the books I've already read, since, again, this is 6 months late, so it had some catching up to do when it came to filling in these pages. So I wanted to just include a little bit of me coloring everything in because obviously that is the most fun part. Alright guys, that's it. It is time for the final flip through. I love the final flip through. You can really see all those additional details I added. Here you can see that washi tape on the vertical lines really brought everything together. I love the one with oranges and lemons. I think it is so cute. And you can see the details up close in these shots. And if you want, you can pause and read my 2022 TBR, which I've done a really good job of checking some off already. I absolutely love how this first spread came out. I think it is a great opener for my yearly book spreads. So this is my bookshelf and all the books I've read so far. I think this is super cute. I cannot wait to see it all filled out and in its final form at the end of the year. Alright, on to the third spread, and let me tell you, the washi tape on this page is absolutely everything. I used 3 different washi tapes and I layered them up to make them look like almost like the coolest border you've ever seen, in my opinion. And I'm just obsessed with how it turned out. I loved it. I loved how it just pulled all the colors together. And by the way, yes, I do read a lot more audiobooks than physical. I don't want to talk about it. And here obviously is my books index, all filled out and caught up for the most part, except for some dates. I got really tired of filling this out. Obviously I had a lot to catch up on and my hand was getting really tired. But other than that, that wraps up my yearly book spreads. I am so thrilled with how it turned out. I did leave a blank page there at the end. That is my overflow page. I did absolutely nothing to it because I don't know what it might need to be in the future. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!